1 Peter 3, 8-22, the vindication of the righteous and the triumph of Christ. The apostolic exhortation opens with a call to unity of mind, compassion, brotherly love, tender-heartedness, and humility. These are not presented as mere ethical aspirations rooted in human effort, but as the outflow of a shared participation in a finished reality. The community addressed stands within a covenantal transition, where the old order, marked by division, hostility, and the striving of the flesh, is giving way to a new creation characterized by harmony and divine life. Thus, the exhortation reflects not a demand to become something foreign, but a description of what has already been secured and is now being revealed among them. The instruction to refrain from returning evil for evil or reviling for reviling further underscores this reality. The people of God are said to have been called to inherit a blessing. This inheritance is not postponed or uncertain. It is grounded in the accomplished work of Christ. Therefore, their posture toward opposition is shaped not by anxiety or the need to secure their standing, but by the settled assurance that their inheritance is already theirs. The blessing is not contingent upon their response. Rather, their response flows from the blessing. The apostle then draws upon the psalmist to reinforce this vision. The one who desires life and to see good days is to refrain from evil speech and pursue peace. Yet even here, the emphasis is not on attaining life through moral discipline, but on the manifestation of life already granted. The eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears are open to their prayers, not as a future hope, but as a present reality established in Christ. The text then turns to the question of suffering for righteousness' sake. Who is he who will harm you if you are zealous for what is good? This rhetorical question is not naive. Rather, it is framed within the larger narrative of divine vindication. Even if suffering does occur, it does not threaten the standing of the believer. Blessedness is not disrupted by affliction because it is rooted in something unshakable. Fear is displaced, not by circumstances changing, but by the recognition of Christ's lordship. To sanctify Christ as Lord in the heart is to acknowledge his definitive victory. The call to be ready to give an answer for the hope within them is not a call to defend an uncertain future, but to testify to a realized hope, a hope grounded in the resurrection and exaltation of Christ. This testimony is to be given with gentleness and respect, reflecting the nature of the one who has secured it. The contrast between suffering for doing good and suffering for doing evil highlights the innocence of the righteous. Their good conduct in Christ exposes the futility of accusations against them. The shame falls not upon them, but upon those who oppose what is good. This inversion of expectation reflects the broader reversal taking place in redemptive history. The central proclamation follows. Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, that he might bring us to God. The finality of this statement cannot be overstated. The suffering of Christ is singular and sufficient. It accomplishes what it sets out to do. It brings his people to God. This is not a potentiality awaiting fulfillment. It is an accomplished fact. Being put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the spirit, Christ enters into a realm beyond the limitations of the old order. In this state, he is said to have proclaimed to the spirits in prison, those who were disobedient in the days of Noah. This proclamation is not an offer awaiting acceptance, but a declaration of triumph. The disobedience of that earlier generation is now set in contrast with the obedience of Christ. The patience of God in the days of Noah, while the ark was being prepared, pointed forward to this moment of fulfillment. The mention of 8 persons being saved through water introduces the typological connection to baptism. The water of the flood, which once signified judgment, now prefigures salvation, not as a physical cleansing, but as the appeal of a good conscience toward God. This appeal is grounded in the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The conscience is not cleansed through ritual, but through the completed work of Christ, which establishes peace with God. The passage culminates with the exaltation of Christ, who has gone into heaven and is at the right hand of God, angels and authorities and powers having been subjected to him. This is the definitive declaration of his reign. All opposing forces are brought into subjection. The transition from suffering to glory is complete, and with it, the assurance that nothing remains outside his authority. Thus, the entire passage unfolds as a testimony to a finished work that redefines identity, suffering, righteousness, and victory. The community addressed is situated within this accomplished reality, where the triumph of Christ is not anticipated, but proclaimed, and where the life of the age to come is no longer distant, but present.